A very cold start to spring. The spring officially began at 4:24, but for the first day, we began the morning very chilly. We've had some high mid-level cloudiness at times, but at the moment a little bit more sunshine. Looking out toward downtown, beautiful afternoon, but it is still very chilly. A 55-degree temperature. The dew points, though, have been very dry. I'm not the only one where my hands and lips have been cracking because of the dry air, but that will start to change as winds are already beginning to come out of the east, eventually southeast during the day tomorrow, bringing back the Gulf moisture and bringing back the higher humidity, which at times later in the week we'll start to feel a little bit more uncomfortable. Today's high of only 55 degrees is actually a degree below our normal low, so we are running well below average, and our morning lows, while not quite records, were certainly very cold. The record low at Kenner is 31 degrees. We were at 39, so not one of the coldest starts to spring, but certainly up there. 20s though on the North Shore to begin the day, and we're not going to be that cold by tomorrow morning. Perhaps cold enough for parts of the North Shore, especially right along the Mississippi line, for near or cold enough for maybe some patchy frost. I don't think that's going to be a widespread issue. So this is where we begin tomorrow morning, and then temperatures gradually increasing by Wednesday morning in the 50s and probably 50s to low 60s as we start the day on Thursday. This is a look at the freeze or frost forecast for tomorrow morning. And note, maybe some patchy areas a little farther north. Model has actually kind of backed off on much of anything in southeast Louisiana and primarily keeping everything just to our north and east, more so into southern Mississippi. We're in the 50s, low 60s outside at the moment, but a very chilly day and a very dry day with dew points 20s and 30s. Again, that will change with the wind coming back off of the Gulf starting later tonight. And in fact, we're already starting to see a little bit more of an easterly wind and more of a southeasterly wind as we head into the day tomorrow. Not particularly breezy, but certainly a higher wind that will start bringing back that Gulf moisture gradually throughout the rest of the week. A little more cloudiness to our west, and we're getting a westerly flow aloft. That's what's helping to bring in some of these higher clouds, and will likely continue over the next couple of days. But overall, plenty of sunshine as well. It shouldn't say 40% chance of rain tomorrow. That should be a 0, because we're not expecting any rainfall until perhaps the end of the week as a very weak cold front moves in for Friday going into Saturday. Our temperatures also will start to moderate and really start warming up toward the end of the week, because we are expecting an upper ridge to start building in. High pressure aloft will begin that warming trend, and that takes us right into the weekend, or the start of the weekend. By Friday into Saturday, I'd mentioned another upper disturbance which will bring in a cold front. Colder air, yes, associated with it, but it looks like the bulk of that is going to stay to our north. So for us this weekend, maybe a slight drop in our high temperatures, but not dramatically so. We're going to peak by Thursday and Friday into the lower 80s. So after starting off in the 20s and 30s, end of the week will feel a little bit more spring-like in the 80s. And again, with that next front on the way, not expecting a big drop in temperature. Perhaps toward Tuesday of next week will we see a more significant drop in temperature. Not as dramatic as this past weekend, but we do have a couple of cold fronts on the way. So dry, warm, and a little more humid toward the end of the week. Chance for some showers Friday, primarily overnight Friday into early Saturday with the first front. Again, not expecting much for this coming weekend, but it will be a little less humid. Another chance of rain late Sunday into early Monday with a second, probably stronger cold front, which should help to start dropping temperatures toward the early to middle part of next week.
All right, Chris, thank you.